Hi there, it's Sandy, your sister and your friend. Welcome to today's video. As most of you know, if you've listened to any of my videos, what this is basically is I'm sharing my journey in the recognition of who God is and who I am in God. And in this particular part of my journey, I had discovered a book. I mentioned it in the last video that I did called A Course in Miracles. And I'm finding this book to be really, really interesting and gives such a great explanation of a lot of things that I had found confusing in Scripture before, but it just makes them so, it just illuminates them so well. So today I wanted to focus on a particular lesson. The way the book is organized is that it has a study guide, and then it also has part 2 as a section of a workbook for students. And there are 365 lessons, one lesson for every day of the year. And today I wanted to share something with you from lesson 23. So I've just gotten started in this book, but I found this lesson to be so compelling, I really wanted to share it with you. By the way, I'll put a link in the description below to where I bought the book, and also to the Circle of Atonement, which is the publisher of this complete and annotated version. So I want to start this by saying today I spoke with a good friend of mine, and he was lamenting about the state of the world. He said, it's such a terrible place. I don't think in all of the history of the world that's ever been in such a terrible shape that it's in now. He also knew that I'd been studying this book, and so I said to him, well, it's not really the condition of the world that is causing this, but it's actually our thoughts about how we perceive the world that's causing this condition of the world, of this thing that we perceive as what the world is. And the good news about that is that we can change our thoughts. Well, his response was, it's not our job to change the world, that's God's work. And I can see that that's what a lot of people think, and that it's that this is something too big for us to take on. And that's really in spite of, for those who were brought up reading the Bible or listening to Christian talks or sermons, in spite of Jesus saying that we're one with him and one with the Father, and that we were going to go on to do even greater things than he has done. Because what he was doing is he was modeling for us what it looks like when we just expect our lives that we will work miracles, which are really changes in our perception and in the perception of others around us. So I wanted to share with you from the introduction to this particular lesson. It's lesson 23, and this is what the introduction says. It says, every thought that you have makes up some segment of the world you see. It is with your thoughts, then, that we must work, if your perception of the world is to be changed. And then it goes on to say this, if the cause of the world you see is attack thoughts, then you must learn that it is these thoughts that you do not want. There's no point in lamenting the world. There's no point in trying to change the world. It is incapable of change because it is merely an effect. But there is indeed a point in changing your thoughts about the world. Here you are changing the cause, and the effect will change automatically. So I've been looking to see, how does this play out in my life? When I'm under the control of my ego is always looking for an attack, and it's looking to be attacked. And it's telling me, giving me the message that I need to launch a counterattack before the other person can actually hurt me. But these thoughts that I have create an external reality, and this reality is actually something that's been contrived by my ego. Now, attack thoughts can be aggressive so that the person under attack actually feels like they're being attacked, or they can be passive aggressive, which is really more the style of my particular ego. So when I was before I was on this path to awareness, I would react very passive aggressively. My ego would tell me that I was a victim and the other person out there who was attacking me was the bully. But it would say, don't attack back, don't say anything back, just take your thoughts and just stuff them down. Now, once I got on the path of awareness, my ego still wanted to tell me what to do. So what it would say now is, oh, you're much more spiritual than the person who's attacking you. So you still don't need to say anything. Just take those feelings that you're having and stuff them back down. So you see, in both cases, even when I was in this conscious awareness place where I find myself to be now, even then it was judging the other person as being the attacker, and it was getting satisfaction and pleasure out of judging them that way, and also seeing me stuff feelings down that it could put more unresolved feelings on top of. The good news is that I don't have to stay trapped in this never-ending cycle that the ego likes to produce. The cause of the world that I see is actually the thoughts that I have projected onto the world. And because these thoughts have to do oftentimes with me attacking or feeling attacked, that's something that I can ask God to help me with. And I have seen many occasions where I have had things come up that had been stored from before, and as I name them and I release them, I can see that what God is doing is He actually then transmutes those thoughts that I have and those feelings, so that now I have a different perception of the world. So I wanted to share with you the exercise that was actually in this lesson 23 because I found it to be so helpful. I have this as a subtitle of the video, but here's the idea in this lesson. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. It's kind of interesting that it's using these two verbs, that I can escape. We think of escaping as using subterfuge so that my attacker doesn't know that I'm slinking away somehow or other. And I can escape from the world that I see, which is the one that I've made up with my own thoughts, by giving up, which is relinquishing or surrendering my attack thoughts. And now who am I surrendering? I'm not surrendering to my attacker. I'm surrendering to the Holy Spirit, who is my friend and who is the only one who can help me release these attack thoughts. So I just think it's kind of interesting to see those two thoughts together. I'm escaping by surrendering. So I'm going to read that phrase again. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. And then here's what the practice in this lesson. It says, as you look about you, repeat that idea slowly to yourself, and then close your eyes and devote about a minute to searching your mind for as many attack thoughts as occur to you. As each one crosses your mind, say, here's the quote, I can escape from the world that I see by giving up my attack thoughts about X. Or you could say, if you're feeling attacked, you could say, I can escape from the world that I see by giving up the thoughts that I'm being attacked by Y. And then it goes on to say this, hold each attack thought in your mind as you say this, and then dismiss that thought and go on to the next one. In the practice periods, be sure to include both your thoughts of attacking and of being attacked. These effects are exactly the same because they are exactly the same. So if we go back to my friend's case of feeling like this world is a terrible place, we would say, I can escape from this world that I see by giving up attack thoughts about this terrible world. So I put this into practice because I have some familiarity with thoughts like that. I don't feel it strongly, perhaps, but certainly I've had that thought. So as I sat there for that minute in contemplation about this thought, I started realizing that I was feeling like the world was attacking me, and therefore I was launching attack thoughts out onto the world, which was actually creating the perception that the world is a terrible place. So my projection was actually causing the world to be what I was saying that it was. So as I contemplated this, I started like just relaxing into realizing that it was really me who was causing this effect in terms of how I was seeing the world. And as I let it go, I could actually feel my heart changing. And now I didn't see the world that way. And from my experience in doing things like this similarly, in letting feelings go, naming them and letting them go, I know that now that my experience in the world and of the world is going to be more positive because I'm vibrating at a higher level. I'm seeing things in a much better way, more loving way, and therefore that's what's going to be drawn back to me. That's what I'm going to see reflected back to me. So I didn't really know that I had so many attack thoughts until I started doing this exercise. There was another phrase I wanted to share with you from an earlier lesson, lesson 6. Lesson 6, it says this: there are no small upsets. They are all equally disturbing to my peace of mind. So what I did is I tried in these 1-minute intervals to think of every single thing I could come up with that ever had disturbed me, that possibly could have disturbed me, no matter how tiny they were. And I realized that there was just freedom and freedom and freedom. And sometimes besides the freedom, I could actually see my responsibility in having caused an upset. And therefore, I'm now able to go and to admit my responsibility and to ask for forgiveness in these situations. So I just see this as so much freedom, and also it keeps bringing us, it transmutes, takes my thoughts that were fear-based and translates them into love. So there's this transition, I guess that's the word, transition that occurs by going through this exercise. And also it helps to reinforce what I'm always talking about, how we're one with God. There's no separation from any of us from God. So it brings back to mind our identity as the children of God. And that goes for me, and it goes for every other person who's ever been in the world. No matter how I've judged them, those people are one with God and pure and holy vessels of God. So anyway, that's it for today. Sorry this was a little bit longer, but I love you so much. Thank you. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and look at the links down below if you're interested in this course. God bless you so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye.